This next video is about how scouts go into scouting. So we're going to try and give you a perspective of a pro scout and what they need to go through. Okay. Now a scout is going to be an individual who's hired by a club to either identify future talent or top performers. Okay. So there's two things that the scout needs to be able to do. The first one is know the methodology and the type of players their club want. The second thing is to identify an ideal match. So a player that fits the exact profile of what the club wants. And this is critical because one, scouts are going to look at thousands of players. Two, if they recommend the wrong type of player, they could lose their job. And that's because their job is to find the ideal player. So if they're bringing in a player that doesn't fit for example, the values or the beliefs or the culture of the club, it's not going to work. And then the club can go find another scout. Okay, so that's very, very important. So there might be a very, very, very good player, but that doesn't mean he fits what the club is looking for from a value standpoint or a performance standpoint or an attitude standpoint. Whatever the criteria is, the player might not be an ideal fit, and they might be very good. And this happens all the time because there are many, many good players that are linked with clubs. You can see it if you search up, for example, you go to any of your favorite soccer websites and they talk about players that are being scouted for clubs or evaluated. You'll see that they're on a transfer list and then it might not work out for whatever reason. And that happens all the time in this process. Okay. Now, a scout needs to know the following 4 questions. And really, they have to be able to understand that what does a club want? Do they want younger or older players? What is the player profile of the club? So what type of characteristics does this club look for in a player? What does the club look for in a player in terms of their position? So there's different player profiles, right? Now, in this, there's positional profiles. So in each position, so a fullback, a center back, a goalkeeper, defensive mid, center mid, attacking mid, wingers, and strikers. Each club has a specific type, or should have a specific type, or probably have a specific type of what they're looking for from a positional standpoint. So as an example, a lot of people talk about a number 9, which is the striker. Okay, some people like a target center forward, and that's somebody that's usually bigger, stronger, like a Lukaku, who's probably going to be less technical but more of a physical presence, right? But then you could have somebody like Aguero or Luis Suarez, who's a little bit more mobile, who's going to make more runs into the channel, right? Can link up, play a little bit better with their teammates, combine and move. Or maybe you have a player that's like Jamie Vardy, who's really going to try and play on the counterattack to run in behind the opposition because of his speed, right? Maybe more technical. So he'd be like a combination of Lukaku and Aguero because he's not as good as link-up play. He's not as good as hold-up play, but he's good at making those runs into the channel. Where Lukaku can still make runs, but his main objective is to hold the ball up and be a target player. Okay, so with these 3 questions so far, we have the 4th one. And that's how do they operate or identify players? So where does the club want them to scout? Do they want them locally, like in the community? Is there a bigger outreach? And a lot of this depends on age too. But maybe there's certain regions they don't want to look for players. So a scout has to have this information. Okay. Now with this, a scout can identify the specific criteria a club craves. Because if they have the answer to these 4 questions and it's very easy for the scout to understand, simple. They can go out and look for the specific type of player that this club is looking for. Okay. And there could be age ranges, right? Like the first question, younger or older. Are they looking to identify young players for the academy? Are they looking to identify players, I should say, for the pre-academy? Are they looking to identify players for the pro academy? Are they looking to identify players to be pros? What are they looking for? And it just depends on the club. Okay? So there's a lot that goes into this, and there's a lot more than what you would think. And it's only going to get a little bit more in depth as you go through this. So see you in the next video.